Today I'm setting off on a 5-day solo adventure in the northwest corner of Spain. Before flying here, I had never travelled abroad by myself, and had never driven in a foreign country without someone else with me. But this week, I'm going on a road trip completely alone. In the process, I hope I'll be able to push the boundaries of my own independence. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to go and get dinner in a restaurant on my own and discover a new type of freedom I've not felt before. Solo road trips are the best. Hello and welcome to Galicia in the northwest corner of Spain. I just finished my Camino de Santiago, my first one, a couple of days ago, and I thought that doing a nice road trip on my own might be a nice way to decompress after all of that difficult walking. This is my car, which is completely inappropriately sized for a small girl with only a backpack. So I'm not quite sure how that happened. I don't have much time as I only just left Santiago this morning. So today I'm going to start by heading to a river canyon and just going for a little walk, relaxing a bit, and then heading to my first hotel. And then maybe on some of the subsequent days I'll be able to fit a bit more in. Although driving an unknown car in a foreign country, where driving is a little bit different to back home, was nerve-wracking at first, it didn't take me long to begin appreciating the freedom that comes with being on your own with no deadlines.
These slugs know they can't catch me. Beep beep, so let's ride.
I found more than one excuse to pull over and admire the views, amazed by how quiet the roads were and how much there was to see. Look at this amazing view I just found, and my car is just sitting here by the road. Immediately, like the second I pulled up here, I was like, you know what, solo road trips are the best. This is the best. I love it. Shortly afterwards, I arrived at my first stop of the road trip. I walked for about 45 minutes along this beautiful river canyon on wooden walkways before I found a spot by the water's edge to sit and relax. One of my biggest aims with this trip was to take my time and not overplan. I find it so hard not to let the fear of missing out overwhelm me when I'm travelling, but I know rationally how peaceful and rejuvenating it can be to live in the moment when you're somewhere beautiful like this. This is such a good spot. I'm so happy with this. It's so beautiful. This is just what I was hoping for from doing a road trip on my own. But I also have a much longer drive to the hotel than I realised, so yeah, I will need to leave at some point in the near future so that I don't end up going to bed super late. Especially since I only had 3 hours of sleep last night, and it would be nice to catch up on that. Well, so much for taking my time. After another long drive, I arrived at my hotel for the night, which was this super cute rustic house in the middle of nowhere, and where I was greeted by these adorable friendly dogs. I quickly settled into my room to get some sleep, as I had unfortunately arrived a bit later than planned. I've kind of messed up with timings because I've arrived here really late and I need to leave really early in the morning to go and get the ferry that I booked to the islands. So I have a very minimal window for sleeping and I'm exhausted. So I think I really need to make sure I plan better for the rest of the trip so that I can actually relax instead of rushing around. So I'm going to go to bed as soon as possible, and then yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be up early again. I've made it to Vigo on time for my ferry, yay! Today I'm taking the ferry to the Cies Islands, which supposedly have one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, so I'm very excited about that, despite all of my poor planning, as it turned out that you had to be here even earlier than I thought, because you have to pick up your tickets half an hour before the ferry leaves. The only thing I am a little bit worried about is that sometimes I do get a bit seasick, and if that happens I will be extremely unhappy, so let's pray that this is going to be a nice, smooth ferry ride today. And now here we are on the Cies Islands. So there's 3 islands. The ferry brings you to a port where you can access 2 of them. The 2 islands are connected by that incredible white sand beach that's behind me. So you can walk across the beach to get from one to the other. And on each of the 2 islands, there's 2 hiking trails that you can walk on. You're not really supposed to like go off the trails because there's so many nesting birds here. And I think I'm going to try and do 2 of them maybe, see how I get on, because I also want to spend some time just relaxing. It's so beautiful here. I'm amazed. It's just incredible. So, having failed to slow down and relax on the first day, let's see if I can do a better job today. I decided to walk on the North Island first, as I had heard it would be quieter, and to take a trail which leads you to the farthest and most remote point. The views I saw along the way were spectacular, and it was so quiet. This place is genuinely one of the best places I have ever been. It's so beautiful. If you're watching this, you have to come here. It's incredible. However, the walk didn't take too long, and I was overcome by my curiosity about the shorter trail on the North Island on the way back. In the end, I was very glad I had deviated from my plan to do only 1 hike on each island. I wasn't even planning to do this hike. I was going to skip this bit, and I'm very, very glad that I didn't. And now I'm kind of thinking, maybe I'll just do all the hiking trails. But then I won't have any time to relax, and I really told myself I was going to relax. Ugh, why am I so bad at just sitting down and doing nothing? But I'm sorry, that view, that was incredible. That would have been terrible if I missed that. I'm going to go down to the beach that I saw earlier and was considering sitting at, and then decide what to do. Committed to having at least 1 moment of relaxation, and also starting to get a bit hungry, I finally allowed myself to take a break on this beautiful and utterly deserted white sand beach. Sitting there watching the birds, I finally found myself properly appreciating the tranquility, and the fact that there was nowhere else I had to be in that moment. Eventually, I decided to carry on to visit the South Island with a newfound feeling of calm. This time, I decided to take the route to the higher viewpoint straight away, which led me up through woodland to an incredible winding path from which I could see the 3rd of the Cies Islands, disconnected and only accessible by private boat. So this is the hike that I'm doing, and then this path down here, this is the last remaining hike that I haven't done, and it leads to that lighthouse. Look at that view. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But I think because I can see all of it from here, I'm not going to do the last one, and I am actually going to sit down and relax. So, yay! Now addicted to the soothing quality of the white sand beaches, I spent my last hour on the islands relaxing in another hidden cove with barely any other visitors. Afterwards, I carried on in my car to my next hotel, which to my delight had the most amazing sea view from the bedroom window. Having achieved relaxation, I knew it was time to finally get my half marathon training going again, before turning into bed at a nice, reasonable hour. Good morning from Cangas. This is where I spent the night. It's very lovely, and the hotel, which is here, was not very expensive, and I had an amazing sea view. This was also a really nice place to go for a run last night. Today I'm going to meet one of my Camino friends at Finisterre, but Finisterre is quite a long drive from here, so I need to figure out a stop that I'm going to take along the way. As it turned out, my friend Niels asked if I wanted to meet first at a waterfall, so I made my way straight there, discovering several amazing roadside views once again on my way. I'm about 10 minutes away from my, probably less, 5 minutes away from my destination, and I keep stopping because the views are so amazing. Like, look at this, it's so good. I love road tripping, it's my new favourite thing. We briefly checked out the waterfall before heading on to Finisterre, which the Romans once believed was the end of the known world. A lot of Camino de Santiago pilgrims carry on walking here after Santiago de Compostela, and we discovered a graveyard of abandoned belongings discarded at the end of people's pilgrimages. Although I don't really agree with this practice, we did leave our friend's walking stick behind, as at least it's natural material rather than plastic for landfill. We sat for a while on the rocks before I said a sad farewell to Niels and his girlfriend, not knowing when I would next see them as they were heading back to Germany the next day. So I went to Finisterre earlier with Niels, which is where you can walk to after the end of the Camino if you want to keep walking. But I'm now in Muxia, which is another town that you can also walk to at the end of the Camino. Some people walk to Finisterre and then walk to Muxia, or vice versa. Although I had ideas for other places to visit after Muxia, I decided to exercise my newly developed self-restraint and take my time exploring, as the town itself was very pretty, especially from above, as I discovered when I climbed up this small hill. Soon enough, it was time for my next personal challenge, however. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to go and get dinner in a restaurant on my own, which before this trip I had never done before. But I did do it 2 days ago, and it was alright. I felt a bit awkward, especially because the waitresses didn't really speak English. I've always liked doing things on my own. I like doing the road trip on my own. I like going to the cinema on my own. I like hiking on my own. But restaurants, they've just always freaked me out. So, wish me luck. Weirdly enough, almost everyone eating in the restaurant when I arrived was also on their own. So I was quickly able to relax and enjoy my meal without any fear of judgment. Afterwards, I made my way to my next hotel in yet another beautiful seaside town. Once again, my hotel room is so nice. It's so comfortable, and look, the sea is right outside. Okay, I just went for a run around the bay, actually much further along the coast. Google told me it would be flat. It was not flat. I ascended like over 100 meters, and this is only my second run since I did the Camino, so my second run after a month-long break. Like, in terms of my cardio, I feel great. I feel completely fine, but my legs are not good. I think I need to have a rest today. I need to sit somewhere and not use my legs too much. So I'm gonna shower and then I'm gonna go to the beach and just like chill and read a book. This is the perfect beach to have to yourself. This is the whole point of the road trip, to just drive to places in the middle of nowhere and be by yourself in nature. Oh my God, I love it. This is so nice. As you can tell, I was really starting to enjoy this new style of travelling, despite being someone who usually can't sit still. But on top of this discovery, I was also realising something else. I was becoming addicted to the feeling of freedom, which was more than I'd ever experienced in my life. I've always been a bit of a people pleaser, and I do struggle not to bow to the expectations of others. So there was something quite incredible about knowing that right now, on this beach, no one else in the world knew where I was. No one would know how long I stayed, and no one had to know where I would go next. It was all down to me. I'm in Fragas Do Eume National Park. It's basically another big river canyon, and there's a short hike that I'm going to do up to a monastery in the woods. The road to get here was a little bit dodgy. I know that my mum would have a panic attack if she was going on there, but it was all fine. We've made it here. And I think the hike will take like an hour and a half maybe, so not super long, and then I'll go and find my hotel afterwards. Having sat at the beach for most of the day, I arrived for this hike in the early evening. As it turns out, the monastery was much closer to where I parked than I had expected, so I was quickly able to have a look around. Although it was interesting, the location was almost more intriguing than the monastery itself. Nestled in the river gorge, with barely anyone around, it felt like I was deep in an exotic jungle or rainforest. That monastery really gave me the creeps. It was just like so quiet. And the area around here, it really feels like you're just in a jungle. There's just nothing here. There's no hint of civilization. And it was just this like creepy, abandoned, ruined building. Yeah, I don't know, something about it gave me the heebie-jeebies. I feel like I'm in The Last of Us. I'm like in this overgrown jungly place, and then this just like a massive hydrological plant. I feel like I'm gonna have to go exploring in there and I'm gonna find zombies or something. There is no one around. It feels really creepy. It feels like a zombie movie. I'm alternating between doubting my decision to do this hike because it's quite late in the day. It's like 7 p.m. now and it's really spooky, but also just kind of loving the vibe that like I feel like I'm Lara Croft because I'm just in the jungle and there's no one around. Please no zombies, please no zombies. Are they zombies? Hopefully not. Not zombies. Not long after this, it started to rain. The final stretch seemed to take forever as I got wetter and hungrier with each passing minute. I kept trying to remind myself that this was all part of the adventure. And hey, at least I had the freedom of knowing I didn't have to feel bad about having dragged someone else out in the rain with me. Okay, hike complete. I got a little bit wet, but that's okay. I had waterproofs and it was fun. I liked it. But I am now craving my bed, so I am going to get back in the car and go to the hotel as quickly as possible. I don't know what I'm going to do about dinner, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Good morning. It's my final morning in Spain after being here for about a month, which is quite sad. And unfortunately, it's raining. You can't see, but it's raining. If I could do anything today, I would choose to go and sit on a beach like I did yesterday, but clearly that's not going to be possible. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to do, but I think I'm going to go to the most famous beach in Galicia. It's a really beautiful beach called the Beach of Catedrales. And I'll probably just go for a walk along it because in the rain it won't be much fun to sit. And then we'll go from there. I don't know what I'm going to do after that. Okay, I'm immediately glad I came here because the weather is much better than it was where I was before. So it's actually not raining, and this is supposed to be the most beautiful beach in Galicia, so I'm happy that I'm not missing out. Okay, not only is it quite similar to the beaches that we have in the UK, but there is also someone playing the bagpipes. So yeah, I feel like I'm just at home. I really like this beach, but it's the most touristy place that I've been on the road trip. There's loads of people here. And also it feels most similar to the UK, which I guess is, you know, preparing me for a transition of going back there. But yeah, I quite liked, you know, having the beach to myself yesterday and feeling like I was somewhere far from home. This kind of feels now like, yeah, like I have to go home. It's definitely worth a visit. I would say you could spend a lot of time here because there's lots of caves and stuff to explore. But I'm kind of just sitting and watching the people go by and stuff because you have to like strip your trousers and wade through the water in a lot of these caves, and I don't really feel like doing that on my own right now. Yeah, I guess just feeling a little bit sad about the trip being over. It's now pouring with rain and I am hiding in a cave waiting for the rain to stop so I can run back to my car. It's kind of cool though, it's quite dramatic. Okay, I made it back to the car. I didn't get too wet, but it is like pouring with rain. So I think that's going to be my last stop of the road trip. I'm just going to head back to the airport now and get petrol on the way. I'll be there a little bit early, but that's fine. I'll just read a book or something at the airport. I feel like when the weather's like this, I can't do much anyway. So I'll only be like half an hour early. So yeah, we'll do that. And yeah, sadly the road trip is coming to an end. It's been the best week. Like, I had so much more fun than I expected to have driving on my own. I would do this again and again and again. I'm already thinking like whether I can try and fit in another solo road trip in the next few months, so let's see. And with that, all I had left to do was to make my way back to the airport. As I travelled home, I found myself experiencing an overwhelming feeling of gratitude for the adventure I'd had over the last week and the things I'd learnt about myself. Not only had I expanded once again the bounds of my comfort zone, but I'd also been rewarded with one of the most liberating experiences of my life, a feeling which I can't help thinking I'll be chasing again in the future. This was not just the end of my road trip though, it was also the end of my time in Spain, and the month I'd spent walking the Camino, which was, if anything, an even greater adventure. That's a story for another day though.